When the earth is spoiled, humanity and all living things are diminished. We have taken too much from the earth and given back too little. It's time to say that enough is enough. We are declaring next year the year of Landcare. Today's announcements, of course, will not solve everything, but I believe that with the right mix of political commitment and community support, that we can ensure that our country is simply the best in the world. This is our country. This is our future.
Landcare has evolved a lot since former Prime Minister Bob Hawke made this speech launching Landcare 25 years ago. John Simon says that despite changes and challenges to the program, Landcare still plays a vital role in rural and regional Australia.
In the early days it was about, looking at their farm planning, and we sort of moved away from it, but it's still a good thing to do. And in those days NLP was sort of still, it was a toddler, it was born and it hadn't matured into the program what we've got today, but it was more, the main aim in the 90s, I believe, and this is just my own personal opinion, was just to get people aware that we had some issues with land management issues that we needed to understand, and I'm big on this sort of principle that you can't manage a problem unless you understand the problem, and if you don't understand the problem, you're not going to adequately manage it, and if you do, it's pure arse.
ERF Executive Officer and Esperance farmer Dorothy Henderson has been involved in Landcare since the beginning.
Landcare has always been part of our life as producers because we're well aware of the impact that we can have on the wider environment with our practices. And our first property in Esperance was right on the edge of a lake, Pink Lake, and we made some terrible mistakes when we early developed that to start with. We cleared things that we shouldn't have cleared, and nothing ever grew as well as the native stuff that was there when we first went there had done. So we've learnt from personal experience that you can do the wrong thing very easily, and ever since then we've been more and more in tune with our local environment, or the environment that has become our local environment. What we've seen in the early days when I was working in the nursery, and it was at the very beginning, there was a great enthusiasm and a groundswell and lots of farmer involvement, and it was the catchment committees, small groups of dedicated people, but what happened with them was they got burnt out. There was a lot of work to do, volunteers and the coordinators, it was just hard. But there was the enthusiasm. I think we've gone up and down depending on how the funding is allocated, because we don't get a lot of administrative costs funded, so that means that the people that do the work or coordinating are working very hard. And I think we're struggling to find members that just have the time to do the work now, the voluntary stuff, so it's all directly related to the funding, and people's ability to keep giving for nothing. It's very difficult.